twat.
What's up, guys? This is Luke Denman from Minimal Effort MMA, where we know so much about MMA we don't even have to try. Brendan Ape Gleason is on hiatus this evening, so I have the big boy microphone.
Woo!
Yeah, woo! Yay, Luke! Just had a travesty happen. We just did the entirety of this show, only to find out that Microphone failed us as our producer.
And then showed us a picture of a penis immediately after. Double whammy.
Once we found out that our recording stopped, Strone immediately turned on meat spin, and I don't know what that means.
Well, I'm Jake Tribbett, back again, hopefully to stay, and also today in place of Brendan because, well, not only did we have an open microphone, but nobody really likes Brendan. We have my little brother, Jared Tribbett.
Hey, Jared.
Say hi.
Jared Tribbett breathing into the microphone. He's also lionized in our community because he is the one person in Montgomery County that looks most like a Furby.
You're an asshole.
I knew that'd get some stuff out of him. Gonna do a short show today, guys. Just going to go over our picks for the top 3 fights for UFC 141 coming up this Friday. The first fight we're going to go over is, I almost said Donald Cerrone and Nate Diaz, and that's not the one we are going over now. It's Johnny Hendricks.
And John Fitch.
Gosh, I couldn't get it out of my mouth.
Oh, that's okay. We already did.
Yeah, we already
done this for like an hour.
This.
I just stuttered.
What are we doing here?
It's like the Twilight Zone in here.
Jake, how you feel about this fight?
And if this was the Twilight Zone, John Fitch would lose.
But
it's not.
Something on the wing.
What I think is going to happen is that Johnny Hendricks is going to come in and he will absolutely come on strong, like he should probably against somebody like John Fitch. The issue is that I don't know if his wrestling pedigree is in MMA, or his wrestling for MMA is good enough to counter John Fitch's wrestling for MMA. And most of us know that John Fitch is well more experienced than Johnny Hendricks, and has proven himself as a top caliber fighter, as well as coming in with good game plans, being well conditioned, and things like that. And I think the truth of the matter is, and the way I see it, is that Johnny Hendricks is a mini John Fitch.
Agreed.
And I think that we'll see a little bit of stand-up. I think it's always funny when two wrestlers and grapplers are just like, yeah, we don't really want to mess around on the ground. Look at Frank Mir and Nog. Sometimes you just don't want to mess with another grappler in MMA. And I think we'll see some stand-up, but I'm pretty sure John Fitch can pull this off. Definitely by decision, possibly by TKO in the third.
Yeah. I think aggression here is going to be the key for Hendricks, and the problem I see with Hendricks winning is he has an excellent ground and pound game, and I think getting John Fitch to his back is going to be a task. And I know I'll probably get a whole bunch of people on Facebook being like, well, BJ Penn did it, blah, blah, blah. But like taking John Fitch down is not the simplest thing to do. And I don't think that Johnny Hendricks is going to be able to do it. I think that what I foresee this fight being is a lot of fence hugging and dirty boxing until
my favorite.
The Randy Couture special.
Yeah,
push him against the fence and punch him in the face.
Then give him a dirty Sanchez.
Yeah, and I think due to that, I think that I am picking officially John Fitch by decision, like I always pick in his fights, unless he fights GSP. Jared, what do you think will happen, Jared?
Well, I definitely think we have a case of, the number 2 welterweight in the UFC fighting an up-and-comer.
In the world, Jared.
In the world.
Number 2 in the world.
Sorry.
Get it right.
I think this could end up being one of those fights where you see two guys who are great on the ground, just winding up, standing and banging, trying to show off that they can strike better than the other wrestlers. I don't know if that's exactly how it'll go, but I could definitely see something like that happening when you're talking about, dirty boxing and pushing it up against the cage.
Oh, my
The
crone.
Randy Couture special.
Right. I definitely think that, Johnny Hendricks is not going to have an easy time taking down John Fitch. And if you look at the BJ Penn fight, how many people thought BJ Penn was going to shoot on John Fitch?
Not John Fitch.
Exactly. So when you go into a fight thinking, oh, BJ Penn is going to strike with me, and then he takes a shot on you, you're not ready for it. Because regardless of how good of a wrestler you are, when you don't expect a shot, you aren't going to be able to defend it.
Right.
There's tons of distraction here today. Just tons of distraction.
The other thing I anticipate hearing is like, well, BJ Penn, or I already said BJ Penn. George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre took John Fitch down.
George St. Pierre is a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, when Canada was like, hey, just wrestle for us in the Olympics, coming from a karate background, like, GSP didn't wrestle in high school.
Yeah.
GSP didn't wrestle in college. He is a freak and just outside of anyone else as far as, wrestling in MMA goes.
Has some of the best offensive wrestling
I don't think
in
you
MMA.
can use GSP as an example ever.
I agree. So, Hendricks can't take that mofo down. Dirty boxing on the fence. UD John Fitch is what I'm calling. Jake, what do you think the final result will be?
TKO. I don't even know what that. I hope Mike Schoen leaves this in because that didn't make any sense.
TKO.
I'm actually going to start my next sentence with that.
Okay.
TKO in the third, or
For Fitch?
for Fitch, or a decision win for Fitch. I think that if it does go to the ground and John Fitch winds out on top, I think he is more able to hold Johnny Hendricks underneath him as opposed to vice versa. I don't think Johnny Hendricks, even if he does get the takedown, is going to be able to hold Fitch down. So I think in almost every category, the advantage goes to Fitch, and he's going to win by TKO in the third is probably what I'd put money on. So to you, Jared.
As you'll see throughout this podcast, I'm probably going to go out on a limb on most of these picks. And I'm actually going to go with Johnny Hendricks by knockout in the second round.
Johnny Hendricks by knockout.
Jared's just here to shake stuff up.
I'm going to predict up against the fence a little short uppercut inside that knocks out John Fitch.
Wow. Super specific.
You guys have to realize that we just did this for a lot longer than what we anticipated the first time. It was about just over 30 minutes, our first one. And then it's like, hey, you guys got to do it all over again. So we weren't.
And the truth is, we just don't care enough about you guys to do it.
I don't like any of you.
I don't give a shit what any of you think. I'm right.
That's not true. Please
That's why I'm
listen to the
here.
show.
That's why I'm here and Drew Bushman's not. He's probably out watching the shadow.
Fuck that guy.
Our next fight is going to be a slobber knocker for all you WWE fans. Donald Cerrone and Nate Diaz, two hard-nosed mofos.
Classic gangster versus cowboy.
Yeah.
Classic gangster versus
Yeah,
cowboy.
didn't they just make a movie about this?
No, that was Cowboys versus Aliens.
Shut up.
Right. Same thing Nate Diaz looks like an alien.
He did.
Cowboys versus aliens.
I just got an update from our fair weather counterpart here about this actual fight. At the press conference, it would appear that Diaz knocked off Cerrone's hat and shoved him because Cerrone said that he was going to get in that ass.
I just laughed like a little girl. That was so funny.
Yeah, and he knocked his, like a child. Nate Diaz responded by knocking his hat off and pushing him, like I did when I was 8.
Hey, Nate, man, I'm gonna get in that ass.
What you say to me? I'm gonna ride my bike real far and then hit you. Jake, how do you feel about this fight?
I think a lot of it's going to come down to whether or not Cerrone's in the condition necessary to keep a constant pace with Nate Diaz. And even before that, I think he has to realize that he's not probably going to go in there and just, one-off, knock Nate Diaz out. That's probably not going to happen. I think that Donald Cerrone should be able to defend the takedown if one's even attempted. The Diaz brothers. Something I do like about the Diaz brothers is that they'll fight anywhere. They don't really care if it's standing up or on the ground.
It's that Stockton upbringing. I'll fight you wherever you want. You can come to my speech impediments, my speech therapist's office, and fight me there if you want.
Luke loves to make fun of the Diaz brothers.
I love it.
It's because they come off as jerks real bad.
Yeah.
I think
it's mainly because they're ethnic.
Oh, Jesus.
Boom.
I think that Donald Cerrone is gonna come out like a little fireball, and probably not the best idea, to be honest. If Donald Cerrone can establish a good solid pace, stay in Nate Diaz's face as opposed to letting Nate Diaz grind him out,
right?
Whether it's on the fence or standing up, I think that'd be better for Donald Cerrone. But I don't think Donald Cerrone is going to go in there and light Nate Diaz up and knock him out. I don't think that's realistic. So I'd have to say Donald Cerrone. Man, I think this could go either way, just because Nate Diaz is a wily guy. He's just as likely to snag a submission as land a solid combo and knock him down or something like that. As long as Cerrone kind of knows his place and knows that he's still on the up and up, and that he's not just going to walk all over Nate Diaz, I think there's a good chance that Donald Cerrone is going to play it smart and win this by decision.
Yeah,
I'd like to see a knockout though. I always like a good Nate Diaz brothers getting knocked out.
I pretty much agree with you, Jag. I think the key to Cerrone winning this is, when most people will say, gosh, constant pressure. I'm not talking about walking at him a lot. I mean, trying to knock his head off at a 100% rate,
right?
Like at all times. I think if you allow Diaz to get comfortable in a striking setting and just throw a lot of pillow punches at you, that is the game that they will be successful at. So I think as long as Donald Cerrone is being real aggressive and really trying to put Nate away at all times, I think he will find a lot of success doing that. And like you said, you don't really see Nate shooting, or you don't really see him trying to get the fight to the ground, even though he's very, very, very good down there. You don't really see him pushing to get it to the ground a lot.
I like guys like that, though. Even though I don't like the Diaz brothers' attitudes, guys who are BJ Penn's a guy like that. They will fight you.
Especially with the beef going on between them that is apparent. We have Nick Diaz. I'm sorry. We have Nate Diaz lying. On camera, we've got him in a real Chael Sonnen moment where there was an altercation between him and Cerrone at a UFC event where Cerrone went up to Diaz, tried to shake his hand and be a sportsman and a gentleman like you should behave, and you have Nate Diaz, I apologize, slapping Cerrone's hand away and calling him a, quote, punk ass, end quote. And then straight up denying it in another video, like, that didn't happen.
You gotta stop making fun of Nate Diaz's boys. He's gonna ride his bike over to Indiana.
He lied about it, and he is welcome to, because just like Frank Mir,
you will call the police.
I will call the police, and then I will shoot them if they burgle my home. Anyway, I'm gonna pick Cerrone by horrifying knockout, and I'm starting to get afraid about asking Jared what he thinks. It's going to be like, I think Nick Diaz by disqualification.
Right. I'm not real excited for this fight. I don't care for Nate Diaz. I haven't seen Donald Cerrone fight very much. I do think that Donald Cerrone is going to have a gas tank, because the Diaz brothers are always able to fight the whole fight, regardless of whether it's 3 rounds or 5 rounds. But what we have to look at here is that Nate Diaz is not Nick Diaz.
Agreed.
Nate Diaz.
He is Nick Diaz.
Is
Nate
not
Diaz.
near the MMA fighter that Nick Diaz is. I don't like either of them, but Nate Diaz is definitely the worst of the brothers. But with that being said, my official pick is actually going to be Nate Diaz via submission in the third.
Mike Schroen with the scowl at Jared Tribbett.
By Kimura.
By Kimura. Okay.
Yeah.
By Kimura.
That's
Kimura in the third.
In the
Kimura
third, I think Don
Nate.
Cerrone's going to gas out, and
Really?
Nate Diaz is going to tear his arm off.
I think Greg Jackson is going to throw the towel in.
No.
Throwing the towel in.
No. His goatee won't let him.
His goatee won't let him. So, we got 2 picks for Cerrone and 1 pick for Nate. My oddly specific, in an oddly specific way. Okay.
I think it's very possible.
It's very
that
possible.
Nate could win.
With either of the Diaz brothers, even though I want them to be found dead in a closet while performing autoerotic asphyxiation upon each other. I only wish the worst things for them, but both of them you can never count out in any fight, no matter who they're fighting ever.
Agreed.
And I will never repeat anything similar to that statement again.
Your disdain for the Diaz brothers
it's unreal.
It's incredible.
I would never say that I would beat them up because they would both destroy me in any fashion, but I would like for them to be hit by a truck or be murdered by some legitimate thug from another town who is sick of their garbage.
Thanks, Luke.
Jake Tribbett just spit all over his microphone, and it's my father's microphone, so it better work. That's my old band's practice mic. I'm pretty sure that has blood in it. Anyway,
I spit all over my shirt. Oh, thank you, Luke. Didn't.
My bad.
I knew something like that was coming, and I just wasn't prepared.
Anyway, moving on to the main event of the evening. Ooh, I'm a ghost. Ooh. That's dumb, and we're laughing, and everyone's gonna know how dumb we are about laughing over stuff that's not funny. Moving along to Alistair Overeem versus Brock the Phenom Lesnar.
Who calls him the Phenom? You just made that up.
It's actually written in the brass knuckle of his chest.
Seriously.
Dick tattoo. No, it's not.
Oh, chest
I just-
dick.
Let's
chest
get it
dick
straight.
tattoo.
That tattoo is a penis with a grip. Look at it. You can't. It's got veins in it. It's got it's circumcised. Look at it and tell me different. It is. He's got a big old schlong. He's got a big old schlong with a brass knuckle grip tattooed on his chest.
Just so everybody understands that if we had to do this again, if we had to re-record this for a second time, Luke's comments would get worse and worse and worse and worse.
It's. I don't understand why that's such a bad comment. It is a penis. Google it. It is.
Quote of the day: It is a penis.
It is.
Google it.
Google it. It's a penis. Nothing embodies the warrior spirit like a cock with a grip.
Mike Sharon has actually brought up a picture
And look,
of
It
Lesnar.
does kind of look like a penis.
with a grip. Penis with a grip.
Okay, on topic.
Probably because he grabs him so
I
anyway.
think that the main event for UFC 141 is actually going to be quite a bit closer than everyone thinks. I think it's going to go into later rounds than many people are picking. I don't think that this fight is going to end in the first 3 rounds. I think the issue that this fight has is that Lesnar's been on a long layoff. He's had to deal with the
Diverticulitis.
and also Alistair Overeem is coming over from Strikeforce into the UFC for the first time. There's a lot of pressure on Alistair Overeem to perform, being the Strikeforce Dream, K1, champions, and there's also pressure on Brock Lesnar to be the guy to welcome Alistair Overeem into the UFC.
Yeah, it's definitely a high-pressure situation for both participants.
Did you want to add? Did you want to add anything about like the training or the physical attributes and how the fight's going to go? I know it sounds like a joke, but I'm
right.
being serious.
Well,
what do you think about how their bodies look, Jared?
right. I definitely think that they're both massive. I think that they're big, strong dudes. I can't stop looking at the porn on the computer.
Mike Schrone keeps pulling up real rude videos of people doing awful things to one another, and we're trying to talk over it while it just pounds away in the background. Sounds like an oil rig. Anyway, Jared.
I think that the strength of Alistair Overeem is the big question in this fight. Is Alistair Overeem strong enough to deal with Brock Lesnar? If he is, I definitely think that it's going to negate Brock Lesnar's game plan. If he's not, Brock Lesnar is probably going to walk all over him. If Brock Lesnar wants to take Alistair Overeem down, he's probably going to take him down. I think the wrestling gap is too big for Alistair Overeem to be able to defend, a multiple-time NCAA D1 wrestling champ's blast double, especially from a guy the size of Lesnar.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think if Alistair Overeem can get up off the mat and strike while he's doing it, that's where Alistair Overeem's going to win this fight.
Yeah. Like every other fight that's ever happened, hitting Brock Lesnar with your fist is the key to beating him. Like in every fight that I've seen him participate in, especially his fights with Shane Carwin and his fight with Cain Velasquez, when he gets punched in the face, he turns away. He likes to turn away. And I didn't wrestle in high school. As a matter of fact, since I was homeschooled, I mainly just looked at raccoons and played with my dogs. But I'm guessing that a shot posture is not necessarily one you want to... The posture you want to take up to take a shot is not one where your entire face is turned away from your opponent. I'm guessing.
That is correct.
That is... Yes! I knew it!
But with that being said, I think that when Lesnar shies away from punches, it's as he's getting hit, not necessarily as he's taking a shot.
Right.
I don't see Lesnar's shots with a turned head.
Right, yeah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think the reason the key to hitting him is because if you put hands on him, it's going to nullify his ability to shoot. And
I could agree with that.
There's my clarification. Boom! Jake Tribbett.
I tend to think that the key to this is much. This will revolve a lot around Lesnar's ability to take him down. Yes, that's a big thing, but I was being literal when I said around. I think before the shot and after the shot, what happens after Alistair Overeem's getting taken down? Is Lesnar able to set up a shot that he thinks will be effective? I think, for one, getting up off the ground, nobody on earth wants to be underneath Brock Lesnar. Not one single person, you or I know.
Sable does. Just going to put it out there.
Anyhow, nice. Anyhow, if Alistair Overeem is able to get up from bottom, I think that'll serve him really, really well, and for obvious reasons. But I think the key for Alistair Overeem is if he is able to physically stay away and interrupt Lesnar's setups to the shots. He don't go in there and throw 3 and 4 hit combos. Don't throw don't go jab right straight leg kick. That's probably going to get him taken down.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely
probably not a good idea.
It's probably the stuff Brock Lesnar's working on taking him down on.
Yes, and I think that a couple things is that he needs to move around. I almost think he needs to play the long man striking game just to stay away. In and out, making sure that Brock Lesnar can't actually get his hands on him. Work his angles, all these things. I think footwork's going to be a big deal. And if he's able to stay stay out from directly in front of Brock Lesnar. The only time he should be in front of Brock Lesnar is when he's hitting him, and even then, if he can stay on the outside, that'd be a lot better. Because he's not going to be able to stop Brock Lesnar's shot. Once Brock Lesnar sees the ability to shoot, has set it up, and is in the process of the shot, Alistair Overeem is going to the ground unless he's already up against the cage. So, Brock Lesnar by decision.
Brock Lesnar by decision.
Because, sorry, I didn't say this enough, actually. Alistair Overeem tends to plot around. He puts his guard up, he gets in a good stance, he stays in the pocket, but he doesn't really throw all the time. He'll walk around, kind of feel these guys out, and I don't think if he does that with if he does with Brock Lesnar what he did with Fabricio Verdum and let him hit him and stand in front of him, he's going to the ground.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. He cannot do that in front of Brock Lesnar, and I think he will.
It's like he prepares for the fights the same way he would a kickboxing match where you got 10, 12 rounds in front of you, where you more pace yourself for a long fight rather than get real aggressive and go for the knockout. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I just hope I'm wrong. Yeah,
I hope you're wrong too. I'm going to go out on a limb here since Jared Trippett's been doing it all evening. I'm going to go out.
I'm going to do it again,
and he's going to do it again. I think we are going to be surprised by Alistair Overeem's takedown defense. He's been a grappler for a long time. Like I said in the previous deleted edition of this podcast, he was the 2005 European Abu Dhabi qualifying champion, which is a big deal. There's a lot of high caliber guys in Europe that would have participated in that, and some of the videos are on YouTube, like the championship match and the like. Also, he displayed what I thought was great takedown defense against Fabricio Verdum, who is not even remotely close to the same style of takedown artist as Brock Lesnar is, but he is a very, very crafty, very efficient takedown guy. And, Overeem proved that he could prepare for a guy with ankle trips and grappling. God damn it, Mike Schrone. Oh, man. I'm going to pick, let's just get right into it. I'm going to pick Alistair Overeem by knockout in the first couple rounds. Mainly because, like you said, I think with his other fights, he has prepared for the long haul. And I think for this one against Lesnar, he is not going to. I think both of them are so big, no matter how conditioned they are, into the later rounds, they're both going to be unbelievably gassed. So I think that this is going to end either way. A completely opposite pick of Jared Tribbett. I think this has to end in the first 3 rounds because one of them is going to gas at the end of the second if it goes that far. One of them is going to be pretty gassed. And if it's Lesnar, he's going to get knocked out. And if it's Overeem, he's going to get taken down and destroyed. But I think the odds of Overeem catching Lesnar are getting better by the minute.
Nice.
So, Alistair Overeem by KO in the first round.
And now for the most ridiculous pick of this entire show. I'm actually going to change it up from what I
said the last time.
I said before when we recorded last time. But
Mike,
I cannot watch that.
A lot of fecalphilia going on during the...
I think that we're going to be surprised at Alistair Overeem's game on the ground. I think this is going to go late into the 4th, 5th round, and I'm actually going to predict the same submission by Alistair Overeem, just at a different point in the fight. I think he is going to standing rear naked choke Brock Lesnar in the 5th round.
Nice, Jared Tribbett.
Like a hanging on his back, hooks in, rear naked choke. Alistair Overeem, round 5.
So we have...
This is the worst recording ever.
This is terrible.
This is awful. We're all real sorry.
So I'm going with Overeem by KO. You're going with... Jake Tribbett is going with Lesnar UD. And Jared Tribbett...
I don't think I said that.
I think that's what you said.
You know what? Chael Sonnen says I didn't, so I didn't.
That's not what Chael Sonnen said.
Chael Sonnen said Jake Tribbett, correct all the time, and then the customer.
I didn't hear any of that
He called me.
from Chael Sonnen. Your phone didn't ring.
It was yesterday.
Then how could he comment yesterday pertaining to a situation that happened just now?
Well, he just wanted to set the standard for the future.
Well, that's crazy.
Mike
Screw it.
Ed
I'm
all
picking Chael Sonnen UD
for all 5 main card fights.
for all 5 main cards. If you're interested in what picks we made according to the rest of the card, you can get on MMAplayground.com and you can go to either Team Blood Loss or Leg Kick KO featuring Jake and Jared Tribbett.
I'm probably still not going to make picks.
And Jared's still probably not going to make picks, and I'm going to make fun of him all day about it.
We're also not going to tell Brendan that we signed up for a new website and made our own team.
Yeah.
And once you hear this, Brendan, you can't come. You can't come play.
You can't play.
Just take your ball and go home.
We're not
even
going
with us.
to. We're not going to mention the website's name. Not even right now. So our counterpart, being sick, he sent in a recording to Mike Schrone about what he thinks about these upcoming fights, and these. Oh man, I am out of it today, guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're all real sorry. This is
horrible.
The first one was much better,
way better.
but you will sit through it because we're funny
You will do it.
and we're awesome.
Because I don't know, to tell you the truth, Jake. I don't know what's going to happen on Friday. But
Neither do I.
I'll tell you who does know.
Chael Sonnen.
The Shadow knows.
The Shadow does know.
The Shadow knows.
I think something everybody needs to take away is that this is a real interesting fight, and honestly, we don't know what's going to happen, but we made our best guesses.
I do, but I'm just I'm acting as if I don't. If you're wondering what Brendan's picks will be, you can find them at the end of this segment with Luke, Jared, and Jake. I'd like to thank Jared Tribbett for coming here with no shirt on, smoking a cigarette, pretending like he has any kind of knowledge about combat
He
sports.
brought a singlet and said, "Guys, I wrestled in college."
Anyway, I'm done with this. Stay tuned for Brendan Gleason's Wrong Picks.
Sorry I couldn't be there for the show, guys. Work schedules and being sick doesn't work out, but here's my picks for UFC 141 this Friday night, December 30th. Lesnar versus Overeem. I'm going to start with the main card. Alexander Gustafsson versus Vladimir Matyushenko. Gustafsson's coming off putting some quick work in on Matt Hamill. Actually, Matt Hamill retired after the fight. It's one of a 3-fight win streak for him. Matyushenko's coming in, a 2-fight win streak with a 22nd knockout of Jason Brills. Both these guys always come to fight. Gustafsson's a tall, lanky 205er with some pretty good striking and a pretty good submission game as well. Vladimir's the take him down, ground and pounder type of guy. In this fight, I'm going to take Gustafsson over Matyushenko by second round knockout. Second fight on the main card be Johnny Hendricks versus John Fitch. These two guys have two pretty much linear fighting styles. They're both take him down and grind him out type of styles. John Fitch is coming off a long layoff, shoulder surgery, come off that draw with BJ Penn. Johnny Hendricks is on a 2-fight win streak, looking to get up there in the ranks. He's only lost 1 fight in the UFC. Of course, John Fitch is my boy from Indiana. I always stay behind him, so I'm going to go ahead and say John Fitch by UD on this one, just by the old takedown and grind. Co-main event on this card be Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Nate Diaz. Both these guys come in ready to fight every time. Nate Diaz looked really good in his last fight against Takanori Gomi. Cerrone's on a 4-fight win streak with what I call a devastating win over Dennis Seaver. Just kind of took him to school in that fight. Cerrone looks good. I haven't seen him look this good in a long time. And as far as Diaz goes, this is only his second fight back at his second stint in lightweight. And in this fight, I'm going to go ahead and say Cerrone by probably unanimous decision. And I think it'll be kind of back and forth, but I still see it going to UD for Cowboy. Main card fight Brock Lesnar versus Alistair Overeem is two huge dudes going at it. It's your classic wrestler versus striker matchup. Alistair's a K1 World Kickboxing Champion. Definitely has a good, underrated jiu-jitsu game. Brock's your athletic wrestling, take you down and get inside control and ground, pound you out. But I don't know if Brock has what it takes to deal with what Alistair has on the feet. And I see this fight being a first-round knockout for Alistair. So those are my picks, and we'll see the show soon after the event and give you the rundown on what happened. Thanks, guys.